Hi art students, it's time for another week of art, but first let's do the Godzilla of the week. So last time Batra won and second place was Giant Robo. So I'm going to show you Giant Robo. Giant Robo is not officially a Godzilla monster, but he is the same kind of um, he's the same kind of thing. He had his own TV show and he'd fight monsters and stuff like that, kind of like Godzilla. So here's Giant Robo. He's kind of cool. His TV show was in 1969, which is what, 60 years ago? He's got these cool rockets on the back of his back. His head is kind of like a pharaoh. Giant Robo is something that inspired the Iron Giant. So if you've ever seen that animation, you're like, wow, what an original idea. No, not really. It's taken from Japan. So there's Giant Robo, and then there's some other robots that fought monsters and stuff like that. The best part about Giant Robo is you can't see it, but he had like missiles and they would shoot out of his fingers, and it was really cool. So, anyways, this is Giant Robo, and that's it for that. So let's get on to the art portion of this week. Hi, fifth graders. It's time to continue our positive negative space design. You will notice that to save a little bit of time, I already drew the shapes that I'm going to cut out. And notice that they fill most of this green rectangle, right? Like you don't just want to have a tiny little thing that flips over. No, that's not big enough. You want to try to fill most of this space. You want to go deep inside this big shape so that we can cut them out and flip them over, cut out a shape, flip it back. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I already did that. So, and this is all you have to do too. So you can, I'll show you. You can fast forward through some of the stuff because it's basically just going to take me some time to cut out these shapes. But if you have questions or if you're not sure, you can watch it when I cut out this shape. I'm going to flip it over, draw or cut out another shape, flip it back, glue it, and I'm going to glue it, right? Okay, so anyways, here we go. So I'm going to start by cutting my shapes out. Let's see. I'm just going to cut them all out. Normally you would do like one at a time probably. I'm going to do one by itself, and then I'm going to do all the other ones at once. Just to save some time on the video. Okay. So this is how you would normally work. You're going to cut out a shape. Okay, you're going to position your rectangle back in its spot, like that. Okay? Then you're going to imagine that this is just like a door, and it's going to flip over. So it's going to flip over like that, and that's how I'm going to glue it. But you want to get another shape in there. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to make another shape. I'm going to use a pencil. If you use a pencil, draw it lightly so that you don't have to erase much. And there it is. I'm going to cut that out, flip it back over. Okay, here we go. Oh, it was out of camera. It's easier to cut if it's out of camera. When you use your glue, you want to use glue, but not to glob it on. Make sure if pieces are peeling up, you want to glue them back down. All right, so make sure you use enough glue to stick it down, but not a glob. Okay, so here we go. So I flip this over, and then this is going to flip over, and then I think I can get, let's see, is that right? Yep. I'm going to get one more little shape in there. I'm just going to cut it out. I'm just going to get out a little, I don't know, little triangle. Okay. So then I will be able to flip this little piece back once I start gluing things down, like that. that will give me more positive. And see that little, that was, don't be lazy. That little piece is easy to cut out. So you can get little extra parts to be positive and negative. Okay, here we go. I'm getting my glue. Okay. I'm gonna glue this piece first. Remember, like, it looks like I got a little too much glue right here. You can just spread it around with the orange nozzle of your glue bottle. Kind of smears it around so it's not so so clumpy. All right, let's see here. Oop, I did this wrong. Shoot. Whoops. Funny. Yeah. Meant to do this. Okay, here we go. Meant to do that. Okay. Okay. Then I'm going to imagine that this is a door, and it's going to flip back over this way, right? Okay, so here we go. Smear that glue around if you need to. Make it neat. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to imagine this piece, and it's going to flip over. It's a little mini door. I'm going to just put a little dot of glue here. There we go. Okay. And you can see that that lines up with my yeah. Okay. So there it is. Okay. Now I'm just gonna do one more. You're gonna get the idea, but I would cut out all these shapes and flip them over. I'm just gonna do this one. Let's make it easy. You know what to do. So this one's kind of a rectangular shape. Okay. Okay. So again, I want to imagine that this is a door, right? And it's going to flip over. All right. Now I want to have another door flip back. So let's see. I'm going to make a different shape this time. I'm going to make it just kind of rounded. So it's not the same. That'll make it. I mean, you could do whatever you want. I could have made it more angular, that shape, but I want it to be. I want it to be, different so that it has a variety. Okay, so I did it. So let's see. I'm going to cut this out. Okay. So I'm going to glue this one down first. Okay. Then I'm going to imagine this shape flipping over. It's going to be over here. And I'm going to cut out another little bitty shape. Let's see here. Another door to flip back. Okay, so that'll flip back over here. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. Remember, don't add too much glue. You can wipe it around with the orange nozzle. If you're using a glue stick, that's usually pretty good to not use a lot of glue, but make sure you use enough glue stick because sometimes it won't stick down. Okay, so I'm gonna get that guy. And then finally, I got this little piece. Okay, here it is. Okay, positive and negative space. Check that out. So remember, it's like flipping over, and then this little piece, it flipped back. So that's how that works. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly, I'm gonna cut these other pieces out. So let's see, I'm not gonna finish them, but I'll show you what this is gonna look like. There's one. So again, I'm cutting out my shape. The shape goes deep into the rectangle so that it has a lot of positive and negative space. Like, don't be lazy and only go like a little bit in. Go almost to the middle. So you can see I'm like going almost to the middle in there. It's like this is kind of a flimsy, weird piece because I've gone so far in, but that's good. That's what you want. None of these small little shapes cutting out from your big rectangle. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Okay, so I gotta put this back in place. Okay. Now I've got my, it's complicated, huh? It gets complicated when you put a lot of work into it and it looks really good, right? Okay, so here's this piece. This would flip out. This would go here. This piece was here. It's gonna flip out. Okay. And then this piece was here. And it's gonna flip out. Like that. Okay. Now before I and then I would cut in little shapes in here and flip them back. Normally you would glue these down, you would flip them, glue them, and then you would glue this piece last. I'm just going to glue this piece now, just so that you can kind of see how it looks finished. So I'm going to add some glue. See here. You don't need to use a lot of glue, but you kind of want it like you don't want to like not put glue on this end part, like just a little bit. You can do the saying is dot dot not a lot, right? So if you do dot dot, I'm doing a little more than dots, but you get the idea. There, like I can add a little dot here, right? Otherwise that's gonna lift. Okay, that looks good. Okay, now I want to and I could smooth it out a little bit with my, if I want, like if I have big, I don't have any big, my globs are not too big, so I think I'm okay. But if you had a big glob, you can move it around. Okay, so here's the tricky part. I gotta get this right into position. I have the marks on my paper in the corners to show me where this thing goes. I'm gonna very carefully pat that down. Okay, so there we go. So finally, what do I need to do? I'm almost done here, and it's very detailed, and that's what you want. You want it to be very detailed. The question is, how do you make your project detailed? Well, you're going to do 2 or 3 windows as much as you can. So I want to go inside this weird squiggly thing. I'm just going to go, maybe I'm not going to go so far this time, right? And then this will flip over and I'll glue it. And then I'm gonna have another little piece. Maybe it'll just be like a rectangle. Yeah. And then that little, and then that, so this will flip over, and then this rectangle will flip back. Okay, that's gonna look good. Boy, this one's kind of hard to do. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna cut out a circle. So like that circle, I'll glue it right here. And then here, I'm just gonna have. Now it might be hard to cut out that shape. You know, I've got like kind of sharp scissors. I could like kind of poke in and then cut around. I don't know. You don't have to do that if you don't have a good pokey scissors like this. But maybe a parent can help you do something like that. And then I'm gonna have, now this piece, I don't know if I can get, I think this is so skinny, maybe I'll just leave it like that, and I won't have a third piece because it's not gonna fit. And then I would glue them, flip them back, and I would glue them, right? Okay. Here, I'm gonna do this one because this one's unusual because I got a whole piece. So like I said, I have a sharp scissors. You may not have a scissors like this, but I can very carefully poke and then cut out this circle. And this will look kind of cool. Okay. And you have to think about where it would go. It would go like right here. Okay. Right? And then I have my little window. This piece can fold over. So this one's good. This one's easier. Okay, I'm cutting it out. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so first, I imagine that this is all over here. Yep, and it's going to flip over. So it's going to flip over like that, and I'm going to get some glue on the back. Okay. Now, when you glue it over, imagine, like, it lines up, right? Like, you think, oh, would it just be like this? No. Like, these points connect, right? So it's going to be like that. There. See? They connect. Okay. And then this piece was over here. It was like this. This piece was here. So it's going to flip back over here. So I'm just going to glue it in there. That's kind of cool. That's harder to do because you have to have a sharp scissors. So I don't know. If you don't have access to a sharp scissors, then don't worry about details like that. But as you can tell, it looks pretty awesome. Okay, and then finally I got this little piece. So again, I cut out another little window shape, and it's going to flip over like so. And the corners are going to line up. Okay. So here we go. See how those corners line up? There and there. It looks good. It's kind of like a hinge almost. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now, just to save time, I'm not going to do these last two, but you know what to do. I'm going to cut out this shape, flip it over, cut out that little rectangle, flip it back. And then over here, I've got this weird, like, looks like a mustache. You know, this flips over here, flips out. I'm going to cut this piece and flip back. So I'm going to have a real complex positive and negative space. Now, here's the tricky part. If you have some pencil lines, make sure it's all glued down first. So make sure it's all glued down. If like this peels, you want to put a little glue behind it and kind of glue it down. You know, like if this thing peels up, you're just going to put a little bit of glue on that end and make sure it's kind of glued down secure. Then, if you have some pencil lines, you want to very carefully erase them, okay? And don't erase hard because you'll rip your paper. Or you'll rip your shapes if they're not glued down very hard. So you're just going to very carefully and I don't know what they call these things. This is a white eraser. They're pretty, I forget what they're called. There's a name for these things. You might have one laying around. A lot of times pencils will have these now. I forget what they call it, but this works better than a pink eraser. If all you have is a pink eraser, you can just be very careful. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm just going to very carefully, like I'm not even going back and forth. I'm just kind of like very carefully rubbing over those pencil lines very carefully, and then you could blow on the paper, or you could just very carefully try to brush it away. You know, sometimes they got little brooms, like Big Shot Artists. Let's see, do I have a broom over there? I don't, but they'll have like I might, it's lost. But they'll have a little broom, like it'll be like a thin little broom, and they'll just like brush away all their little eraser marks. But for this very reason, so you don't crinkle your paper. But just very lightly. You don't need to go back and forth. You're just going to very carefully, kind of, very carefully rub your eraser over those pencil lines. If your pencil lines were very light to begin with, then they will easily erase. And you want to make sure you do this part. Now, if you can see, I have a little white. Let me see if I can erase this. Oh yeah, I can. So you want to erase your little, once this piece is glued down, you can erase your corners. You want this to be as neat as possible. Yeah, so you do that. So very carefully erase, try not to rip. You can get a brush and brush it away. Glue all your stuff, but the most important thing is that your name is on the back of your paper. So make sure you put your name on the back of your paper. Make sure you put the letter of your teacher. If it's Johnson, you put a J, circle it, right? For Veldy, it's a V, K for Cool Maze. And that's it. And you're going to turn this into me. So this is due November 19th. So you have this week and next week to finish it up. So you got lots of time to finish this thing up. So make sure you work on this thing, right, and turn it in. And remember, you want to put as much detail that you can. You want to try to get in 3 of these things with each shape. Don't just do one. You can easily get a second one, but sometimes it's hard. Like this one, it's kind of hard to get a second one in. But this one, I was able to get a little bit. Even little bits make a difference. Like this little piece going back and forth. And here I got a small little piece too. So I don't know. Try your best. Anyways, that's it for this. Glue carefully. Don't use too much glue. Very carefully erase any pencil lines you have. Make sure your name's on the back of your paper. When it's finished, bring it to school and turn it in. You can also take a picture of it and send it to me through Canvas or through my email. But make sure you bring it to school because we'll mount these. So we'll mount them and they'll look nicer, with a background. So anyways, that's it. I hope you had fun with this, and I hope your project turned out well. I'll see you next week with another video. Even though you have an extra week to work on this, I'm going to have a new video for you to work on next week. Okay? So I will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye.